After the car accident, I was reborn 10 years in the past, and I and Zhou Tingji quietly broke up in a past life. He approached me for Liang Yu's sake, watching helplessly as his beloved was with someone else. After all the twists and turns, I ended up being Mrs. Zhou for 7 years. The first thing he did after coming back to life was to get rid of me. Hey, Nian, let's just call it quits. Back then, he wasn't the esteemed Mr. Zhou everyone would later fawn over, just a broke college guy. Applying for a poverty-stricken student scholarship, so desperate for love, he even dated his crush's best friend. He regretted it for a full decade. I agreed to stop bothering you. It's just that after I got exposed, he came looking for me in a hurry. What's that all about? 1. The bell rang for the end of class. Nian, let's go to the cafeteria together. I didn't wait to see Liang Yu looking 10 years younger. I packed my bag and left. Standing beside her, Zhou Tingji parted his thin lips slightly, his gaze as gentle as water resting upon Liang Yu. No need, we'll go ourselves. Nian is going to be very busy lately. He turned his handsome profile, his tone a gentle reminder. Right, I remembered how Zhou Tingji's voice that day was cold and detached as frost, leaving no room for argument. Henian, let's part on good terms. This time, I don't want to miss my chance with Liang Yue. Indeed, he had been filled with regret for a full decade. He regretted ever getting involved with me. Just to get closer to Liang Yu, he had saddled himself with the label of someone else's boyfriend far too early. Given this second chance at life, he would never let himself do something so foolish again. I gave a slight, wry smile. Yeah, you guys go ahead with Liang Yu. He's right. I've been swamped with the campus competition lately, and I've got rehearsals to get to. At the mention of the campus competition, a flicker passed through Liang Yu's eyes. In my past life, despite holding the massive fortune my parents left behind, I was content to play the part of the devoted wife and mother, pretending to build a life from scratch alongside Zhou Tingji, all to spare his pride. I would only ever support him from the shadows, never taking any credit. He rented a place, and I stayed with him in a tiny basement apartment of just a few square meters, cooking meals every day and waiting for him to come home later. When he started his own business, I secretly invested money in it back then. He said, Nian, I'm so glad you're here. Watching the two figures recede into the distance, I called out to Zhou Tingji, wait a moment. Zhou Tingji stopped in his tracks, and Wei Wei turned to look at me with a hint of impatience. There was a look in their eyes that said, I knew it. I reached out my hand and spoke. Under his puzzled gaze, I remember I was the one who topped up your meal card. Since we've broken up, please return it to me. Zhou Tingji paused, taken aback. He seems to have forgotten that the future Mr. Zhou, who casually spends tens of thousands on a single meal, is still just a broke college student who can't even cover his own living expenses. Liang Yu probably never realized that every gift Zhou Tingji gave her and every meal he treated her to was paid for by me. Out of respect for his dignity, I never told Liang Yu the truth about Zhou Tingji. I felt for him, so I naturally transferred some money to his meal card whenever the three of us ate together. Zhou Tingji would pay. Liang Yu never pays for anything. Like Zhou Tingyi, she's applying for a scholarship for students from financially disadvantaged backgrounds. Sure, here is the translation. As expected, Liang Yu frowned slightly and gave Zhou Tingyi a faint glance. That single glance was enough to make Zhou Tingji's neck flush crimson. Liang Yu had a penchant for understatement in everything she did. This subtle, understated quality lifted her above mere labels like goddess or campus belle. I used to genuinely believe she was free from worldly desires. Countless times, I had offered her the things I held dear. Looking back now, I can't help but curse myself for being such a damn fool. He gave me a long, lingering look, then placed the meal card into my palm. In what year did we settle our debts? The cold card feels like my heart right now. No sharp pain, but deeply unsettling. Liang Yu looked at me, hesitating to speak. Nian, maybe you should think it over again. I looked at her. I will never forget the day when, at our wedding anniversary party in front of everyone, Liang Yu barged into our home with her child. She knelt before me, begging me not to tear them apart. The 3-year-old child rushed over in tears, hitting me. The bad woman who had stolen her father. Zhou Tingji merely mentioned Liang Yu's existence in passing. The child is mine. I was always in love with Liang Yu. You've occupied her place for years. Now it's time to give it back to her. Betrayed by my best friend and closest companion, they taught me life's cruelest lesson. Until his dying day, Zhou Tingji believed I had taken Liang Yu's place, that I had wormed my way into high society by riding on his coattails, and he never once thought me worthy of respect. Now I'm giving Liang Yu her position back. Too. Zhou Tingji and I share the tragedy of having lost both parents. The difference is that I am the sole surviving heir of the He family, carrying a vast fortune. He's genuinely poor, so Poor that he had to earn his own tuition to go to college to keep him from taking odd jobs all over town. I specifically established a generous scholarship in our department at the university. Zhou Tingji is a top student who receives tens of thousands in scholarships each year. Combined with his student loans, he has no need to work part-time for money. After graduation, I encouraged him to start his own business, quietly finding ways to support him financially, which paved the way for the successful entrepreneur he later became. Mr. Zhou. He ended up getting together with Liang Yu, who had returned from abroad after a divorce. This time, he wants to live his own life. I want to live mine too. I pulled out my phone and dialed the number I knew by heart, Feng Jun. I agreed to the engagement. Before my parents left, they arranged my marriage with the Feng family, fearing I'd be bullied on my own. It's just that I didn't like Feng Jun back then, so I naturally kept my distance. I'm starting to think being with Feng Jun isn't so bad after all, at least in his past life. Feng Jun never married or had any women in his life. He's clean. 3. Within days, news of my breakup with Zhou Tingji had spread all over the school. He became one of the many pursuing Liang Yu wherever Liang Yu is. Zhou Tingji is there too. His love is passionate and direct. Beneath the dormitory, Zhou Tingji's slender figure was dappled by the light filtering through the trees. Feng Tian looked at me carefully. Nian Nian, you'll definitely find someone more handsome and talented than Zhou Tingji in the future. I forced a faint smile but said nothing. Everyone says Zhou Tingji has taken a liking to Liang Yu and dumped me. I now go to class every day under the weight of everyone's pitying stares. Apart from feeling a bit awkward at first, I've now learned to simply ignore them. A shy boy suddenly darted out from the side. Hey Nian, here you go. I watched as the boy held a box of imported chocolates. It's expensive and the packaging is beautiful, but I know it's not for me. It's for Liang Yu. Everyone knew that Liang Yu and I were inseparable best friends. Anyone trying to court Liang Yu would always send gifts to her through me first. It wasn't until a class reunion after graduation that I found out how bad my reputation was. People said I was too timing and always out for a free ride. Liang Yu knew all about it, yet she accepted everything without a shred of guilt, happily enjoying the gifts while playing them all. I can't deliver it for you anymore. Just give it to Liang Yu yourself. The boy turned bright red with embarrassment. Just as Liang Yu came down from the dormitory, Zhou Ting stood in solemn silence. He Nian, what nonsense are you talking about? When did Liang Yu ever accept anything from him? Liang Yu was the pure campus goddess who had never been close to any guy. He felt as if something precious of his was being coveted, and it left him deeply unsettled. Oh, really? After all, Liang Yu was the untouchable, pristine moonlight in his heart. How could she possibly do such a thing? Liang Yu, haven't you accepted anything from other guys? Liang Yu said softly. Nian Nian, I know you've been feeling down since your breakup with Zhou Tingji. I don't blame you. She's all about the grace of letting things go. I was even more indifferent than her. That expensive phone you're using, he gave it to you. The headphones, from Senior Zhang in the School of Economics and Management. Oh, and he sent you flowers every day for a week, when you said flowers weren't practical. He switched to a Dryo lipstick, dusty rose shade. I handled all of them. He Nian, weren't all those from your admirers? Feng Tian pushed up her glasses, her eyes sparkling with gossipy curiosity. I shook my head. They were all for Liang Yu. I gave them all to her. Liang Yu was no longer acting so aloof. I thought these were gifts from you. I scoffed and asked Feng Tian, do you actually believe what she said? Feng Tian raises her hand. She definitely won't believe it. But Zhou Tingji glared at her from the side, so he could only awkwardly scratch his nose. Maybe Liang Yu misunderstood. Zhou Tingji said, you're the one who accepted gifts from others, yet you're blaming Liang Yu. He Nian, is this really necessary? My numb heart ached for a moment, and I swayed slightly. What's wrong with you? Zhou Tingji came over to help me up, his brows furrowed so tightly you could have crushed a mosquito between them. I snapped back to reality and pulled my hand away. If you don't believe me, I'll have no choice but to call Senior Zhang and confront this student together. If you still don't believe me, I can find even more people. I watched Liang Yu's clenched fist, then said slowly, I have their contact info. Every time Liang Yu takes something, I report it to them. Do you want me to call right now? I made a move as if to grab my phone. Enough. He Nian, you're just jealous that Liang Yu is more popular than you, jealous that she's prettier than you. Your jealousy is so ugly. For I heard Feng Tian's sharp intake of breath. After losing both parents, Zhou Ting became remarkably mature in her conduct and would never have publicly embarrassed someone like this. He always puts on the persona of a gentle academic prodigy in front of others, but there's one thing, whenever he meets Liang Yu, her presence always stirs his emotions. I thought we were kindred spirits going through hardships together, but in reality, I was just his only option at the time. I closed my eyes, wanting so much to tell him he didn't even make the top 10 on Liang Yu's list, and just like that, Zhou Tingji transformed into the formidable Mr. Zhou, a figure who commanded universal respect and a touch of fear. It was only after the divorce that Liang Yu truly looked at him. All those years, they had been sneaking around behind my back, meeting in secret, reveling in their romance, and I, like any ordinary wife, would always nag him to drink less, forbid him from smoking, and force him to go for his checkups. I'd go on, repeating the same old warnings I'd given him 1,000 times before. How many times have I looked back and wondered if Zhou Tingji, while he was off enjoying romantic escapades with Liang Yu, felt the same extreme impatience when receiving my nagging messages to take care of his health. I never told Zhou Tingji that a significant portion of the success he credited to himself was actually due to my efforts behind the scenes. It was a matter of a man's pride, and besides, Zhou Tingji was the one I held closest to my heart. I was more than willing to nurture a boy into an exceptional man, but this man shouldn't have been taken by someone else just when he was at his prime. He betrayed me, and in the end, he even tried to pin the blame of jealousy on me. I think it's necessary to make him face reality. Zhou Tingji, what gives you the right to stand up for Liang Yu? Ignoring the sudden chill in his expression, I pulled Feng Tian away. He seemed to have forgotten that Liang Yu had no regard for him at this time. 5. Maybe my words stirred something in him. Zhou Tingji hadn't waited for Liang Yu downstairs in days. Liang Yu has also been busy preparing for the school's campus competition lately and isn't paying attention to Zhou Tingji. To motivate everyone, the school has specifically set a prize of 10,000 yuan for the champion. I didn't enter the competition for the 10,000 yuan, but Liang Yu really needs that money this time. Liang Yu gained some fame through the competition, which helped her attract quite a few young bachelors. I was about to go on stage to play the piano, and as luck would have it, Liang Yu had also chosen to perform a piano piece. I ran into Liang Yu in the school's piano room. After the song ended, I turned to see Liang Yu standing at the door. Her expression was a bit off as she smiled and said, "Nian Nian, I never expected you to play so well." I closed the piano and started packing. "Oh really, just a little better than you." Seeing me turn to leave, Liang Yu blocked my path. "Nian Nian, can you please not take part in the competition this time? I know you're only competing against me because of Zhou Tingji, but you can't blame me. He's the one who kept pursuing me. I really wish Zhou Tingji could see what Liang Yu looks like now." Was she still the goddess he remembered? "My participation in the competition has nothing to do with Zhou Tingji. You're right, whom he likes is none of your business. And it's none of mine either." I don't want to say another word to her. Since she started coveting my marriage and my love, there's been nothing left to talk about between us. I still underestimated how determined Liang Yu was to stop me from competing. A summer thunderclap split the air, heralding another storm. The rain began to fall, dampening his hair. "What are you doing here?" I held the umbrella over his head, and the instinctive gesture made Zhou Tingji step back a few paces. "He Nian, what on earth will it take for you to give up competing?" I bit my lip and looked at him coldly. "Why should I give up?" Zhou Tingji turned away from Lian, saying, "If you can give up this competition, I'll agree to go on a date with you, and if you want more, that's not out of the question either." I stared at him in disbelief, stunned by the words that had just left his mouth. "Zhou Tingji, you really make me sick. I can't stand living with Liang Yu anymore, so I've decided to move out of the dorm." The butler and his staff efficiently packed my belongings. Feng Tian stood by with her mouth agape. "He Nian, are these all your housekeepers?" I nodded, took off my glasses, and began applying makeup to myself. "Zhou Tingji doesn't like me wearing bright clothes. He prefers someone like Liang Yu, simple and understated. It's a pity I was born with a face that's half alluring and half bewitching. Even in plain clothes, I look like a carnivorous enchantress who's been on a lifelong vegetarian diet, utterly malnourished." Zhou Tingji said, "I'm not as pretty as Liang Yu." "That's because he's blind." Liang Yu returned to the dorm and paused in surprise when she saw me completely transformed. "Nian Nian, what are you doing?" I changed into my own designer clothes. "Nothing much, I'm just done playing around. I'm going back home to live." Feng Tian said enviously. "Liang Yu, you don't know. He Nian's family has 8 housekeepers and bodyguards. Who knew our precious little Eris was right here with us all along." She sweetly threw herself over. "He Nian, don't forget your old friends when you make it big. Don't forget me, the one who used to share all the gossip with you." I smiled, pulled out the LV bag I had brought from home, and handed it to her. "This is for you. Do you like it?" "I love it. I absolutely love it." Liang Yu's eyes were inscrutable. In the past, I had always given her whatever nice things I had. Returning to my long-absent home, I collapsed onto the bed. No need to pretend to be poor. No need to worry about Zhou Tingji's financial situation. Just enjoy life to the fullest. I must have been out of my mind back then. Feng Tian posted on her moments. Thanks for the gift, my dear. Moi. The bag in the picture is the one I gave you. I quietly liked it. Following everyone else. 5. The butler moved faster than I expected. Just a few days later, the university announced the cancellation of the annual scholarship for the computer science department for someone like Zhou Tingji, who relied on scholarships to cover tuition and living expenses. This was undoubtedly a major setback. He had no choice but to start working part-time jobs again to earn his tuition. After Feng Jun and I became a couple, he gradually started appearing in my social circle. Zhou Tingji called. I heard you're together with Feng Jun. Nothing to disclose. He Nian. There's no need to bring him here just to provoke me. It's pointless. I hope you'll think this through properly and stop doing these ridiculous things. I remembered Feng Tian saying that Zhou Tingji got into a fight over Liang Yu. Mind your own, Liang Yu. My affairs don't concern you. He hung up the phone with a sharp click. That day, Feng Tian sent a message. Zhou Tingji was working part-time at a Western restaurant when, guess what? He saw Liang Yu having dinner with a man from outside the school. Apparently acting quite affectionately, Zhou stormed over and punched the guy. Don't you think he's overstepping? Liang Yu isn't even his girlfriend. What's with the over-the-top reaction? But I understood where Zhou Tingji was coming from. Liang Yu had borne him a daughter. In his mind, she was already his woman, so of course he couldn't stand to see her being so intimate with another man. However, Liang Yu was a girl with big ambitions, eager to improve. At this stage, Zhou Tingji simply doesn't meet Liang Yu's standards. Liang Yu only shows him any kindness when she needs to use him. On the day of the campus competition, Zhou Tingji stayed by Liang Yu's side, looking utterly exhausted with heavy dark circles under his eyes. His shirt was slightly disheveled, and I noticed with a sharp eye that the fabric was starting to peel. It seems his life hasn't improved since I left. His eyes met mine for a second before shifting to Feng Jun beside me. Our arrival, Feng Jun's and mine, caused a minor stir, and he quickly noticed Zhou Tingji's unusual reaction. Feng Jun shot me a glance, his eyes holding a silent warning. Premium content. 6. Feng Tian waved at me, her eyes gleaming with that familiar, shrewd sparkle as she waited for me to sit down beside her. She gave herself a thumbs up. My mouth must be blessed. I said you'd find a man even more handsome and talented than Zhou Tingji, and look, you found him just like that. I winked at her. All thanks to you. On the stage, Liang Yu wore a white gown, her sleek hair flowing down her back, perfectly embodying her goddess-like image. After the song ended, applause broke out from the audience. Zhou Tingji stood near the stage, hands in his pockets, watching her quietly. I have no idea who scheduled my performance right after Liang Yu's. After stepping off the stage, Liang Yu's gaze swept past me indifferently before she walked over to Zhou Tingji and took his arm. My eyelids were half lowered, my expression blank. Feng Tian muttered under her breath, Nian, don't let her get to you. I gave a faint smile. By this point, Zhou Tingji could no longer stir my emotions. I stepped onto the stage and passed by Zhou Tingji, our shoulders brushing past each other. What year? I stood still. He said, you can't play the piano well at all, so why embarrass yourself? I looked at Liang Yu with a half smile, half sneer. Is that really what you told him, that I can't play well, and asked him to stop me from going on stage? This has nothing to do with Liang Yu. She was just concerned about you and didn't want you to embarrass yourself in front of everyone. Oh, really? Please thank her for me. But I don't need it. I turned and stepped onto the stage, not even glancing at Liang Yu's hypocritical face. A Croatian rhapsody flows beneath my fingers, a powerful and emotional piece that not only reflects the hope of the Croatian people after war, but also symbolizes my own rebirth, leaving the past behind and embracing a new life. Until the final note was played, the entire hall fell silent. In a few seconds, thunderous applause erupted. Under the stage lights, my beauty was dazzling, flawless. I heard whistles from the audience and the sound of Feng Tian whooping and jumping for joy. An intense gaze pierced through the crowd and settled on me. I looked back. Feng Junqing's handsome face in the crowd wore a wild, unrestrained smile. I won the championship without a doubt. 7. After the lively commotion died down, I saw Feng Jun off. With the campus competition concluded, the school grounds, now quiet after the frenzy, held a melancholy beauty like the fading light of sunset. Zhou Tingji's impassioned voice carried on the wind. Liang Yu, why won't you believe me? How can you expect me to believe you? You keep saying you love me, but your eyes are always on other women. And what about you? Aren't you juggling several men yourself? What do you take yourself for? For the first time, Liang Yu's voice trembled with raw emotion. What choice do I have? My brother's treatment costs 300,000. Can you give me 300,000? If you can, I'll cut all ties with those other men right now. I'll never see them again. can you do that? A brief silence fell just as I thought Zhou Tingji would agree. I heard his low voice say, Liang Yu, don't push me, no one forced you. I never asked anything of you from the beginning to the end. Oh, you don't. Have you forgotten what you said when you were sobbing and begging me to talk to He Nian and ask her not to enter the competition, Zhou Tingji, and you still claim you have no feelings for He Nian, seeing how beautiful she looks today? Are you having regrets now? After the two of them left, I remained seated in the same spot for a long time, so that's where the 300,000 came from. In our past life, Zhou Tingji went and borrowed from a loan shark. It wasn't until the debt collectors showed up at my door and nearly broke my hand that I finally realized, but no matter how hard I pressed him, I couldn't get a straight answer about what he'd done with the money. I was the one who paid off his debt, lied and told him I'd borrowed it from a friend, and smoothed the whole thing over. Turns out, all 300,000 went to Liang Yu, but none of that has anything to do with me anymore. Whether Zhou Tingji chooses to take out a loan shark like he did in his past life is entirely his decision. Time drifted by slowly. After the campus competition, I became famous at school, and my name gradually started to be associated with the label of school beauty. People started sending me flowers and approaching me at school, but I turned them all down. When Feng Tian hesitantly told me that someone at school was joking around, my mind was still on Zhou Tingji. I immediately posted about my engagement with Feng Jun on my social media. The next second, it was already posted on the social platform by Feng Jun. As a public figure, the news quickly reached the school. Lately, the look in Liang Yu's eyes has been positively murderous when she glances my way. Come to think of it, the only man Liang Yu has ever praised is Feng Jun. He was a senior heartthrob, a golden boy whose resume seemed gilded, backed by the powerful Feng family. He was known for his sharp wit, biting humor, and a notorious disinterest in women. That's exactly Liang Yu's ultimate goal. But someone like Feng Jun would never cross paths with Liang Yu. She was just daydreaming. Nian, are you really with Feng Jun? I thought you always had a thing for Zhou Tingji. Well, not anymore, she blurted out. Where did Zhou Tingji get his money from? I snapped back to reality and studied her closely. I just noticed that compared to her anxious expression from a while ago, she's become calm and distant again. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that the issues at Liang Yu's home have been resolved. Looks like Zhou Tingji still couldn't bring himself to let her go. I gave her a friendly suggestion. I won't be giving him any money. As for where his money comes from, you can go ask him yourself. Liang Yu fell silent. She wasn't foolish. Zhou Tingji, a college guy who even had to earn his own tuition, suddenly gave her 300,000 yuan. What kind of price had to be paid? Liang Yu probably didn't dare to think about it too deeply. As my senior year approached, I gradually withdrew from campus life and started working at the He family business much earlier than most in my past life. Professional agents managed the He business, so I had little to worry about. Once I gradually transferred the responsibilities of the He business to Zhou Tingji, I stopped working altogether. I have no intention of handing over the He family business to anyone. The alliance with Feng Jun is simply because he's the right fit. I am not planning to relinquish control of the He enterprise. Life has been intense and hectic. Buried in work at the company every day, I've lost a fair bit of weight. But my spirits are higher than ever. Life without revolving around men is pretty good. In my free time, I'd chat with Feng Tian about our classmates' lives, or learn from Feng Jun how to manage a company. The days just slipped by. Feng Tian said that Zhou Tingji and Liang Yu are together. I just raised an eyebrow, perhaps knowing how Zhou Tingji got that 300,000. Liang Yu's heart softened. Unfortunately, I guessed wrong again. The day Zhou Tingji cornered me in the cafe, a downpour began outside. Dark clouds hung low on the horizon, making a silhouette appear all the more desolate. I ran into Zhou Tingji right after meeting Feng Jun. Surprisingly calm, I looked at Zhou Tingji's furrowed brow and made the introduction to Feng Jun. Feng Jun, the future tech tycoon and sole heir to the Feng Empire, was also the business rival Zhou Tingji despised most in his past life. At that moment, Feng Jun's gaze was clear and composed. He nodded calmly and steadily toward Zhou Tingji. Feng Jun was just as handsome as Zhou Tingji, but his aloof personality and sharp tongue took the edge off his looks. Yet, his exceptional presence more than made up for it. Whenever the two of them stood together, your eyes were always drawn to Feng Jun first. His gaze lingered on Feng Jun for a moment before he turned to me and said, "Let's talk." I gave a noncommittal shrug. "No, thanks, Feng Jun and I have things to do." Perhaps he had never seen me reject him so bluntly before. Zhou Tingji seemed caught off guard, reflexively blurting out, "I came all the way to find you." Ha! Feng Jun let out a light chuckle, meeting Zhou Tingji's furious gaze. how terribly inconvenient for you, stooping to my level like this." I turned my head away, hiding the smirk on my lips. I was quite surprised that Zhou Tingji didn't retort. In their past lives, they were as opposite as night and day. Zhou Tingji became even more restrained. I let out a sigh. He's changed too. It seems Zhou Tingji won't leave unless I make things perfectly clear. I turned to Feng Jun and said, "I need to take care of some personal matters, let's call it a day for now." Feng Jun's eyes were deep and unfathomable, like a still, dark pool. He turned and walked away. "Look at that attitude." 9. Zhou Tingji looked at me with an inscrutable expression. "So the rumors are true, it seems." I was taken aback. After Feng Jun announced his engagement, I was inexplicably dragged into the conversation. He was already the center of attention, and now my cover's been blown. 2. The heiress of the He Group, right, so you're the young lady from the He Group. He closed his eyes for a moment. I took a lazy sip of coffee, then looked up and held his gaze. "What are you trying to say?" He lowered his eyes. "So you've been lying to me all along." I turned my head to watch the driving rain in the distance. "That's right, I deceived you, and you deceived me. We're even. How can we call it even? What do you want?" Zhou Tingji exhaled slowly. "He Nian, give me one more chance." I nearly spat out my coffee. "Zhou Tingji, you've truly impressed me." He looked up, his voice tinged with melancholy. "Liang Yu is different from what I imagined." He Nian didn't seem to have a trace of feminine gentleness. She was bright, bold, and moved through life with fierce energy. But Zhou Tingji knew just how much she had once cherished him. She saved all her tenderness for him. On the surface, Liang Yu appeared very feminine, as clear and gentle as water. It was only after getting to know her that one realized how cold Liang Yu truly was. Perhaps it was because he wasn't yet the esteemed Mr. Zhou that everyone would later fawn over. I was fortunate to witness Liang Yu's ruthlessness. He had no money, no longer had any value to her, and Liang Yu left without a second thought. She still moves among a variety of men. He couldn't get Liang Yu to move into the 10 square meter basement with him, nor could he convince her to join him in starting a business, like He Nian, who would cook meals and wait for him while living in the basement. He would often find himself wondering what he had been thinking at this same time in his previous life. Back then, Liang Yu had taken his money too, but since he was He Nian's boyfriend, nothing happened between them. Of course, Zhou Tingji thought he would wait until he had settled things with He Nian, wait until he could offer Liang Yu a good life. But what Zhou Tingji ended up waiting for was Liang Yu flying far away abroad to marry a wealthy foreign man. He held his breath, consumed every day by thoughts of how to make money and how to get Liang Yu back by his side. As for which year, he simply needed her at the time. "Did you already know how it would end? So you just cut me off cleanly." I got up. "Zhou Tingji, even now you still think it's always someone else's fault." Zhou Tingji suddenly lunged forward and grabbed me. "He Nian, don't you remember you hated Feng Jun?" I stopped in my tracks. "I never hated him. It was you who didn't like him, so I had no choice but to hate him too. In fact, he was the fiancé my family had arranged for me long ago. Without you, our paths would never have diverged." "Zhou Tingji, let's go our separate ways. I'm no longer the obstacle between you and Liang Yu. Now that you've gotten what you wanted, you should be happy." 10. The heavy rain continues to fall, pouring down in a steady, dense stream. I didn't call the driver at home. I was about to take a taxi myself. An umbrella suddenly opened above my head, and the air was filled with a rich mist and the fresh scent of laundry detergent. Feng Jun held the umbrella, not looking at me. "I'll take you home." I didn't refuse. "He Nian, let's get married." Even Feng Jun himself was taken aback by his own words. Beneath the umbrella, he resembled a nobleman fallen from grace, suddenly imbued with the warmth of mortal life. A glimmer gradually lit up within her shimmering gaze. I brought him back to the villa. Raindrops trickled down his hair and onto his neck, and I licked my lips. The next moment, he swept me into his arms. I buried my face in his chest, blushing as I pointed toward the bathroom. "You're not allowed to think of other men from now on." Feng Jun lifted a strand of hair from my ear, his voice low and threatening. "You can only think about me, or I won't guarantee you'll have the strength to look for another man." Then I was out of energy. Feng Jun is someone who naturally draws people's affection. I think it's incredibly easy for him to make a woman fall in love with him, if he really wants to. 11. I never thought I'd see Zhou Tingji standing before me again. "Nian Nian, how have you been?" I looked at his disheveled, poorly washed clothes and his unshaven, slovenly appearance. I thought we had made ourselves perfectly clear. A carpet of cigarette butts lay scattered at Zhou Tingji's feet. Though he never smoked, he gave a bitter smile. "Liang Yu is gone, so, what are you doing here, Zhou?" Tingji suddenly stepped forward, grabbed my hand, and slammed it hard against his own face. I jumped back in shock, pulling my hand away. "Are you crazy? His eyes were frighteningly red as he grabbed my shoulders. Nian Nian, please forgive me, let's go back to how we used to be, starting a business together, working hard side by side, with you as my supportive partner. I've finally seen my own heart clearly. I never loved Liang Yu. I was just unwilling to let go. I've always loved you. My shoulder ached from his grip, and I winced, whispering, let go, you're hurting me. As if coming to his senses, Zhou Tingji released his hold on me, but kept his hands lightly around me. Nian Nian, please say yes. I took a few steps back, my expression darkening as I replied, no, we've broken up. I won't be getting back together with you. You need to let this go. You're lying. You love me so much. How could you not change your mind? Nian Nian, I've given up on Liang Yu. Do you hear me? I've let her go. I was furious. You didn't hear me clearly. From the moment you betrayed me, there's no going back. I can't believe you'd do this to me. You love me. I love you too. Let's start over together. This time, I'll treat you right. Zhou Tingji wouldn't listen to a word I said, insisting that I promise to reconcile with him. His expression began to twist with madness. I was a bit startled by the wild look in his eyes. Relentless struggle. 12. Zhou Tingji grabbed my hand and rushed forward. Soon, he led me to a deserted rooftop. Nian Nian, I've lost everything. Can you really bear to watch me die? Downstairs is a 5-story abandoned shopping mall. Beneath me, mountains of steel and concrete loomed, and my heart leapt into my throat. I didn't dare to provoke him any further. Zhou Tingji had completely lost his former vigor and ambition at this moment. He resembled nothing more than a stray dog that nobody wanted. Zhou Tingji, calm down. Even without Liang Yu, you still have your career. Even without money, you can earn it again. You have a bright future ahead. I am merely a passing scene on your journey, gone once it's past. He let out a wretched laugh, laughing so hard he was nearly breathless, and still he did not stop. Don't try to fool me anymore. I know all my past successes were only possible because you were behind me, pulling the strings. I have no future on my own. Zhou Tingji calmed down again. He stepped forward, and I flinched back in fear, kicking over a brick that clattered to the ground and shattered into pieces. Oh, I screamed in terror. Zhou Tingji rushed forward and hugged me. Nian Nian, don't be afraid, I won't hurt you. Trust me. I was so scared that I cried. Zhou Tingji, just let me go. We can't go back to how things were. Feng Jun will find me soon. Hearing Feng Jun's name, Zhou Tingji's agitation flared up again. You don't love him. You love me. He's just a tool you picked up to spite me when I neglected you. Nian Nian, he's deceived you. Have you forgotten how much you used to despise him? No. I shook my head violently. No. Have you forgotten what you said? You told me I was taking Liang Yu's place and that I should give it back to her. I did exactly that. So what are you doing now? Zhou Tingji crouched on the ground in pain, clutching his head. Stop. Just stop. He reached out and wrapped his arms around my legs. I'm sorry, Nian Nian, please, just forgive me this once. 13. No. Feng Jun hauled himself up the stairs, panting heavily and drenched in sweat, his icy gaze fixed squarely on Zhou Tingji. Get your filthy hands off her. Zhou Tingji stared at the man before him. A surge of anger welled up inside. If it weren't for him, He Nian would never have left him. If it weren't for him, she would have definitely won He Nian back. He would once again follow the path of his past life, achieving fame and success, marrying He Nian, but this time, he would never betray her. He would stay far away from Liang Yu and devote himself wholeheartedly to He Nian. They would have their own children and a blissfully happy life. He Nian would cherish him just as she had before. Zhou Tingji's vision turned crimson. He charged forward with a single thought: to make this person vanish forever. Feng Jun dodged Zhou Tingji's punch and lunged at him in return. Two men were locked in a fierce fight. It was as if two males were fighting over a mate, neither holding back. Feng Jun took a punch to the face, then Zhou Ting retaliated by striking Feng Jun's chin. I rushed forward and threw myself onto Feng Jun. Zhou Tingji, stop. Unexpectedly, Zhou Tingji came to a stop. 14. He tumbled to the ground in a clumsy heap. Nian Nian, you're so heartless. I quickly checked the wound on Feng Jun's face, then shot up from my seat at the sound. Pop, my palm tingled as I slapped Zhou Tingji across the face. He was stunned. I ended up bringing up something entirely unrelated. I remember that day, after Liang Yu burst into our home, you shielded her and took her away. You left me there alone, with everyone staring at me. I couldn't move. My whole body was trembling. I thought you'd come back that day, that you'd explain things to me, but you never did. I waited from dusk till dawn, but you never sent a word. Do you know why I drove out that night? I looked at Zhou Tingji's frozen expression and whispered, it was Liang Yu. She sent me photos of you two together. I went looking for you like a madwoman. I found you, and I got you into the car. But Liang Yu's words kept echoing in my ears. I was so angry. I crouched down, slowly leaning in close to him, and murmured by his ear, "So I slammed my foot on the accelerator and crashed. I wanted you to die with me." Seeing his vacant stare fixed on my face, I gave a bitter laugh. "Now do you really think there's any chance for us?" I got up and walked over to phone Jun, pulling him away with me. A long moment passed. From behind us came Zhou Tingji's choked, desperate roar, a sound like a small, cornered animal whimpering from its throat. It scattered on the wind. 15. My wedding with Feng Jun was an understated affair of quiet luxury. "You know my secret now. Are you afraid of me? My love is not to be betrayed. Be careful, or I might just devour you." I wore my wedding dress, smiling as I adjusted Fengjuan's suit. He caught my fidgeting little hand. "My dear wife, the prenup is signed, and I don't have a penny to my name. Rest assured, there's no one else in the world quite like you." With such a passion for rescuing men on the brink of trouble, I glared at him in anger. That day, when he came back, he grilled me about my relationship with Zhou Tingji until I had nothing left to say, and made me write a confession 10 times before he finally let me go. Ever since then, he kept me under his protection, and I never saw Zhou Tingji again. Occasionally, I'd catch a few scattered details about him from Feng Tian. Someone found out about the usury loan he took out for Liang Yu, and faced with the massive interest, he had no choice but to work hard to pay off the debt. I'm busy every day. Unlike in my past life, without me there to smooth things over for him, his hand had been broken. Maybe Zhou Tingji is still the same Zhou Tingji, no useless man who only rose to power by leaning on me. Perhaps he'll start another business someday, but this time he'll have to go it alone. A few years after marriage, Liang Yu ended up divorcing and returning home in disgrace. Just like in her previous life, I heard she went to see Zhou Tingji, but he refused to meet with her. The last time I saw Liang Yu, she showed up at the party arm in arm with a man old enough to be her grandfather. Zhou Tingji was also in attendance. Using the knowledge from his past life, he founded a modestly successful company. It wasn't as prosperous as his previous venture, but it was doing quite well. His name is occasionally mentioned in the news. When asked why he wasn't married, he just smiled and changed the subject. Every time this happens, Feng Jun gets upset for days, then inevitably shows off our photos on social media. He still didn't like Zhou Tingji, always feeling like he was a time bomb, just like in the previous life, where they both looked down on each other. In a quiet corner of the banquet hall, Zhou Tingji smoked in silence, while Liang Yu stood pale-faced, tears tracing down her cheeks. Yet she remained strikingly beautiful. Her beauty goes unnoticed. "Tingji, how have you been all these years? I've missed you so much while abroad. If my family hadn't needed the money back then, I never would have married and moved overseas. Have you ever missed me at all?" We had stumbled into an awkward situation, and both Feng Jun and I came to an embarrassed halt. Zhou Tingji saw me, offering a slight smile and a nod. Noticing my slightly rounded belly, he silently stubbed out his cigarette. "Miss Liang, please make yourself at home." He didn't didn't so much as glance at Liang Yu the whole time. Walking right past us, Feng Jun glared at me sideways, holding me tightly in his arms, looking as if every sound were a threat. Tense and on edge, Liang Yu stared wide-eyed, as if she couldn't believe Zhou Tingji could so casually treat her like thin air. Meeting my gaze, which held a hint of a mocking smile, he turned his head away in embarrassment. Arm in arm with Feng Jun, I plunged into this world of fame and fortune. My ties with others had come to an end. It was time for everyone to go their separate ways. The end. That's all for the first story. Don't go away, the next one is even more exciting. Winter is here again, and every year my husband and son inexplicably develop allergic reactions to me, rashes all over their bodies, yet we can't figure out the cause. Because of this, they cut ties with me and moved to another house to live. Even if I fell and bled all over my head, or even ended up in the hospital after a car accident, it was still my solitary battle. We've become the most distant family. I'll end up killing them. I endured the bitter winter alone, waiting in solitude, longing for the warm spring to return my sweet family to me. But then, I unexpectedly overheard a conversation between two people. "Dad, we only get to see Auntie Sue in the winter. Can't we make her allergy season last longer?" Auntie Sue, my husband's childhood sweetheart. The husband ruffled his son's hair. "Taking too many allergy meds isn't good, and Mom Sue would be worried too. Dad will bring you over when he's free." The son clapped his hands. "Yay, I love winter mango candy the most. Then I get to see Mom Sue." Mangoes, the very allergen I've gone to such lengths to keep my son from, the one that could kill him. After standing in the bitter wind for a long time, I quietly made my way home. When the warm spring returned, I withdrew all my care and concern. "Eat whatever you like. If you think I'm abusing you, call the police. I don't want custody anyway." My son wasn't used to me acting like that, so he just sat there in silence for a long time. It took him quite a while before he finally tore open the mango candy wrapper. The look of expectation in his eyes cut me to the quick. He probably thought that if he ate it, he could return to Mama Sue's embrace. I've told you countless times. Those safety warnings engraved on the school badges are unnecessary. Su Yichen rushed over and knocked the candy out of his son's hand. Shiran, you seem completely out of it today. Our son almost ate that mango candy. You know how severe his allergy is, and how dangerous it could be. It's not like this is new to you. Yeah, I know. I avoided all mango-related items like a clown, buying snacks, buying milk. I scrutinized every word, afraid of missing a single detail, repeatedly reminding her son, don't eat any mangoes anyone gives you, got it? Otherwise, you'll end up in the hospital getting shots. Your bow'll be sore from all the needles. I repeated it again and again to the teacher and classmates. Without tiring, Zishuan is allergic to mangoes. Please be extra careful. I treat mangoes like sworn enemies. But that mango candy was given by Su Yichen. It was their ticket to see Aunt Sue. I composed my expression. Why does he have mango candy? Shouldn't you be the one to ask? A flicker of panic passed through Su Yichen's eyes before he gave a casual reply and led his son upstairs. They've grown accustomed to waiting for me to prepare a feast and lay out a table full of handmade gifts celebrating the family's reunion, but not this time. The dining table was bare. Su Yichen frowned. Shiran, what's wrong with you today? He saw the redness in my eyes and looked at me with a hint of helplessness. Are you still upset? I'll find a way to treat our condition, this father and son problem. It's all because of this allergy-prone winter that kept me away when you needed me most. Fingernails dug deep into the palm, so he still remembers. At the time of my pregnancy, Mom was diagnosed with leukemia. Su Yichen wanted to save the baby, but I wanted to save Mom. I'm donating my bone marrow, and no one can stop me. No one has it harder than me when it comes to choosing. I love the child, but that's my mom. But Mother, as if she had learned the news, began to decline rapidly in health, completely lost the condition for transplantation. It was then that we learned she hadn't taken her medication properly. She had given up her chance to live for a new life. I pushed through childbirth with gritted teeth, but still developed postpartum depression due to hormonal fluctuations. Winter, especially when I'm left alone, feels like a chorus of melancholy shouting from every corner. I can't seem to find any joy at all. I've thought about ending it all several times, but then I think of my son. That child the mother had exchanged for was still so young. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. To keep them, I'd wrap myself in plastic like a human cocoon each year, even donning a gas mask, but they still couldn't breathe the same air as me. They'd break out in rashes, and no one could ever find the source of the allergy. Su Yichen hurried out the door with his son. Shiran, I'm having an allergic reaction, but I'll tough it out. I'll bring the kids back when spring comes. I can't figure it out. I kept scrubbing my back in the shower until it bled. I masochistically felt this was heaven's punishment for me, crying in the bathtub until I fell asleep. Such a painful winter. It left me bitter. It was all just a scam. Chapter 2. I removed Su Yichen's hand and went back to my room alone. My son ended up in the hospital that night after he couldn't resist eating those mango candies. Children can't hide their true feelings. Even in a feverish daze, he was still murmuring, I want Mama Sue. I don't want to go home. Each word cut like a knife. Having just finished asking the doctor for instructions, I nearly lost my footing. I handed the notes I had taken to Su Yichen and let out a long sigh. Divorce, and let his mom Sue take over. Su Yichen jokes. Kids say things randomly. Do you really believe that? He looked into my eyes and explained with a mix of sincerity and pretense. You know Sun Yanwei too. I haven't been in touch with her since we got married. The last time I took our son to see her, the kid probably got his memories mixed up. Seeing someone after a long time can feel novel. It's only natural. Before I could react, Sun Yanwei rushed over and went straight to our son. She scooped the child up with a pained expression and started scolding me. Sister Shiran, how could he be allergic to mangoes? He's such a good boy. Why did you have to put him through this? Just a couple of days ago, I had him looking all plump and healthy. People around stopped in their tracks. A stepmother just can't compare to a biological mother. Poor kid. That's why he said not to rush into divorce. Perhaps noticing that my gaze was too intense, she quickly offered an explanation. Shiran, don't overthink it. I didn't mean it that way. I'm just so worried about the child. Why does he have to keep suffering like this? I turned and went to the restroom, splashed some water on my face, and finally calmed down. He endured all this suffering just to escape me and see his mother, Ms. Sue, from age 3 to now. As I was about to go in upon my return, the place was filled with laughter and cheerful voices. Daddy, I want to stay with Mommy a little longer, he pleaded so sweetly, and Sun Yanwei's face was full of hopeful anticipation. Su Yichen refused without a second Thought, no, it was already dangerous enough for you to come here so rashly this time. I told you we can't let this get back to Shiran. Sun Yenwei bit her lower lip, pouting playfully. Just agree this once. I'll make sure to avoid Sister Shiran. I'll leave as soon as I'm sure the child is healthy. I only see him for 3 months each year. Just a few extra days. That's all. Su Yichen stared into her eyes, then finally gave in. Just this once. I let out a self-mocking laugh. Seems I've turned into the kind of mistress who breaks up families. The doctor walked in, glanced at Su Yichen, and was met with blank stares. No answers, no information, leaving him visibly annoyed. What's your child's history of allergies? What medications have they taken before? And what were the most severe symptoms? Didn't you as parents notice any of this? Sun Yenwei twisted her fingers nervously, while Su Yichen awkwardly sent me a message. Just then, I pushed the door open and walked in. Talk to me. Forget it. I gave the doctor a detailed account of my son's condition. After all, he's my own child, and I couldn't bear to see him suffer. Back in the hospital room, Sun Yenwei made as if to leave. My son looked at me and wailed, "No, no, I want Auntie Sue." The piercing cries echoed through the ward. I knew they were putting on a show to make me leave and clear the space for them. Tears welled up in my eyes, but I held them back as I looked at my son. Fine. I won't come back. Chapter 3. That night, my head was pounding so badly that in my daze, I accidentally dialed Su Yichen. He immediately came back to help me get water and take my medicine. Don't blame the child. This is just the novelty wearing off. In a few days, he'll be calling for mom again. It's a good chance for you to rest. You've lost weight these past few days. He didn't head back to the hospital until he saw I was feeling much better, but in the following days, I became extremely drowsy. Whenever I woke up, my mouth tasted bitter and I was hit by waves of stomach cramps. I went to the hospital alone. The doctor looked at me, puzzled. Did you change your medication? Your previous prescription was working perfectly well. You shouldn't switch it for no reason. I shook my head. The medication was always with me, still in its original packaging, but the doctor picked it up and immediately noticed something off with a quick check. It's similar to sleeping pills. Weren't you intolerant to them before, back then, when you were restless and couldn't sleep? I prescribed them, and that was the reaction you had. Now that your sleep is fine, who gave you these? I was almost frozen all over. The image of Su Yichen messing with the medicine flashed through my mind, and I could hardly believe it. Su Yichen must have fed me sleeping pills just because I disturbed him last night and he was afraid it would happen again. Yet just a while ago, Su Yichen was the one who warned me. All medicine is somewhat poisonous, so you must be absolutely certain. The best way to leave me undisturbed now is, ironically, to fall into a deep sleep. I smiled a bitter smile. It felt like my heart was being carved open, slice by slice. I went home to pack my things. I couldn't put off the divorce any longer. While rummaging through some things, a Chinese language test paper fluttered down. On it was the teacher's perfect score comment. Such sincere love, reserved only for mom. Wonderful. For a fleeting moment, I was lost in thought, remembering when my son first started kindergarten and the very first song he learned was "Only a Mother's Love Is True." I held his hand as we walked home, and he babbled a little tune. "Mom, I'll buy you a big house when I grow up. You're the best mom." I picked up the exam paper and began to read it. My mother and I were like frost on a winter's night, only able to form together in the cold, destined to melt away when warmth returned. So I just kept hoping for winter to come early. Every word brimmed with love, just not for me. And a crushing sense of failure broke my back. I sat alone for a long time, then stood up, wiped the dust off my mother's memorial tablet, and held it close to my chest. "Mom, the gift you left me isn't good. I'm taking you away. I don't want anyone anymore." The sound of a door lock echoed as Su Yichen returned home with his son, who had just been discharged from the hospital. My son is still young and can't keep things to himself, so he kept talking about the same topic. "Dad, I have to go through another 9 months, sitting up straight, standing up straight, avoiding this and that. It's really tough." Su Yichen tapped his head. "Don't talk nonsense. I'm doing this for your own good." The boy pouted. "But I'm really unhappy, Miss. Sue wouldn't act like this." "Oh, I see." Hearing those words again, I was surprisingly calm. The 9 months he struggled through were the ones I cherished with all my heart. I live in constant fear that the 3-month allergy period will be prolonged. In their eyes, it was a catastrophe. Su Yichen saw me in the bedroom, thought I hadn't heard, tapped the child, then brought him over. "Shiran, this guy's just being mischievous. Luckily you didn't go to the hospital, or you'd have been worn out." Chapter 4. I murmured a soft reply. I placed my mother's memorial tablet into my bag. I made up an excuse and took the marriage certificate to see a lawyer, who recognized it immediately. The young man offered comfort. "This is a fake marriage certificate. We've seen quite a Few of these lately. You don't need a divorce, and you can actually sue the other party for forging the document. I am utterly exhausted, and my silhouette is unbearably lonely. All these years I just feel like a clown. How can I even have the right to speak out? The family I cherish is not my own. I was driven to the brink of madness. The child I risked my life to bring into this world wasn't even mine. The only thing we share is a slight resemblance in our faces. How could he do this to me just before my mother passed away? I became the very thing she despised most, the other woman, and gave birth to the illegitimate child she would have loathed. When I got home, Sun Yenwei was there again. She quickly stood up upon seeing me. Shiran, you're back. I'm about to leave too. I just happened to pass by and stopped by to check on how the child is recovering. I stopped her. Don't go. There's something we need to clear up. I pulled the fake marriage certificate from my bag, my voice calm yet shattered. I want to hear an explanation. I'm like a self-destructive lunatic. What misunderstanding could there possibly be? He's kept it from me for 6 years, but I just want to hear it. I begged him to spin another lie, to tell me the lawyer was lying, to tell me I was his wife. All these years, we've been loving, sweet, and simply happy. That allergy was just a curse. I've been praying on my knees all these years, and it's almost broken now. Sui Chen, visibly uncomfortable under my stare, finally spoke up helplessly. Shiran, Nianwei was in a bit of trouble back then and needed frequent treatment. It was a real hassle without a guardian's signature, so I had to, but you didn't think too much of it. My ears went deaf, filled with a deafening buzz. I'm not listening. I don't even have a proper title, so I can't even make a fuss with any competence. Sui Chen touched my shoulder. Shiran, calm down. But I was calm enough. And I didn't understand what he meant. I didn't even dare raise a hand. I couldn't even shout for him to get out. I'm the other woman. I suddenly felt like laughing. I'm the one who's out of place in this house. I couldn't help but remember how, not long after we were married, he started traveling for work all the time, and I have my own child to thank for giving them the perfect excuse, allergies, to leave for a full 3 months every year. That's tough on them. Sui Chen stared at me in silence. Shiran, please don't act like this. My marriage with Nianwei is fake. We're going to annul it. It's just that Nianwei hasn't been in good health these past few years, so I haven't had the chance yet. I'll go through the divorce in a few days. Sun Yenwei also came over to apologize, but she knocked over the shelf. The shelf came crashing down. Sui Chen grabbed me first, but in the next instant, he let go and shielded Sun Yenwei instead. I was knocked to the ground by a falling shelf, my arm torn open and bleeding steadily, and the father and son both rushed to surround Sun Yenwei. Are you hurt anywhere? Does it hurt? You're not in good shape. Come on, let's go to the hospital right away. Amidst their concerned gazes, I struggled to my feet alone, clutching my bloodied hand, and walked straight out. We sang our wedding song. At that time, all we saw was the one we loved deeply. Let's not see each other again. By the time Sui Chen turned around, Lin Shiran had vanished, leaving only a streak of blood on the ground. He sprang to his feet and dashed outside, but only an empty corridor remained. Chapter 5. Sui Chen returned to the room, and his son looked behind him with confusion. Where's Mom? Sui Chen couldn't quite describe what he was feeling inside. Something just felt off. Mom went out to take care of something. I'm going to go find her now. You stay here with Auntie Sue for a little while. I'll be back soon. It only dawned on him later that these forms of address were rather inappropriate in the past. Thinking it was just kids being casual, he hadn't paid it any mind. Sui Chen rushed out the door in a hurry, searching everywhere. But Lin Shiran was nowhere to be seen. She had never been like this before. No frantic accusations, no sobbing breakdown, just a quiet departure, as if abandoned by the entire world. She has lost a lot of weight. It seems that every winter, Lin Shiran becomes exceptionally gaunt. During the 9 months of reunion, she finally came alive, constantly preparing delicious meals for them and savoring the precious moments of family togetherness. But now this year feels different, starting with that absent reunion dish and the smiles that never quite came together. Everything, absolutely everything, was telling him that Lin Shiran had found something out. Her heart ached, unable to believe it could be true. She wanted to argue, to prove it wrong, but to her dismay, it was all true. Sui Chen ran his hands through his hair in agitation. Back at home, Sun Yenwei held her son in her arms. The boy clung to her, looking every bit like a real mother. And son, Sun Yenwei was still talking nonsense with the boy. Sweetie, if both your moms fell into the river, who would you save first? The boy opened his eyes wide and didn't hesitate for a second. Mom, you. Sun Yenwei smiled triumphantly and gave him a kiss. Seeing this, Sui Chen felt an indescribable ache. How could he teach a child to say such things? Over time, he had subtly instilled in his son the idea that Sun Yenwei was more important than Lin Shiran. He stepped forward and picked up his Son, his tone turning cold, Nianwei, you should head back for now. I'll contact you if anything comes up. Soon Nianwei was not satisfied and searched for something else to say. Did your sister storm off in a huff? It's fine, she'll be back in a few days. Just let me stay here a bit longer to spend more time with the child. The son celebrated with joy. This only made Su Yichen feel worse. He shook his head, trying to rein in his dark mood. No need. You should head back now. Sun Yanwei actually wanted to stay the night. Su Yichen was absolutely livid. I said no. I just want to be alone for a bit. Sun Yanwei had no choice but to leave. Her eyes filled with unmistakable resentment. Su Yichen calmed down, turned to his son, and gave him a serious warning. You can't call Sun Yanwei mom anymore. You only have one mother, understand? Their son still didn't understand. Why not? I like calling her mom. Su Yichen patiently explained, everyone only has one mother, just like how dad only has grandma as his mother, so you can't call two people that, you have to choose one. To everyone's surprise, the son spoke up, then I want Auntie Su, I don't want mom. Su Yichen was furious. Do you have any conscience saying that? You were carried in your mother's womb for 10 months, how hard that was. Didn't your school teach you that? The son was scared to tears, yet he managed to explain why. Auntie Su never makes me take medicine every day. She doesn't nag me, she lets me play and sleep as much as I want. I hate my mom. A mother's true love means never letting her child be unhappy. My happiness is what love truly is. Su Yichen clenched his fingers tightly. Sun Yanwei had already led his son down the wrong path. What kind of thoughts are these? When your mom tells you to take your medicine, she means vitamins. They're not really medicine. She nags you because she's worried something might happen to you. Every kid gets nagged by their parents. If they didn't nag, it wouldn't be love. Su Yichen felt his head spinning, something he'd never paid attention to before. Chapter 6. The son nodded, dazed and confused. Those 3 months each year are his easiest time, when he doesn't have to do anything. He even goes so far as to think life would be better without his mother around, that the three of them could get along just fine on their own. What a bitter irony. Su Yichen smoked several cigarettes in one night, and couldn't help but feel that the past few years had been somewhat absurd. He had actually agreed to Sun Yanwei's proposal. Every year, he would eat the mangoes he was allergic to, risking his life to run away and live with Sun Yanwei for 3 months. What on earth did any of it even mean? It turned out to be because Sun Yanwei was afraid of the cold and loneliness in winter, but he forgot that his wife had depression, which worsens in winter. Su Yichen made up his mind. He was going to set things right again. He stayed up all night searching for Lin Shiran, wondering where she could have gone, and even injured his hand in the process. But he searched everywhere, and there was no trace to be found. His son finally felt a twinge of regret. After months of playing, he decided to pick up his beloved game of Go again from scratch, yet he discovered that without his mother's guidance, the progress he had lost could never truly be regained. In the past, the moment he returned home, his mother would resume nurturing his skills. This is how he earned his reputation as a Go prodigy. For the first time, he felt a pang of fear and found himself completely at a loss. Regret also set in. If only he hadn't sought out Aunt Su during those 3 months, perhaps things would have turned out differently. Soon, the time for the major Go tournament arrived. The son looked out to the field. Only his father was there now. The encouraging figure was gone. I'll tell him it's okay. Losing is just a learning experience. Mom will always be proud of you. The son stepped onto the stage nervously, suddenly blanking on knowledge he'd known well, standing frozen for a long moment before finally making a move. Only after being urged repeatedly by others. As expected, he lost. Once the top performer, now even cracking the top 10 is a struggle. His eyes welled up with tears as he kept calling for his mother. Daddy, where's mommy? I miss mommy. I don't want to go to Aunt Sue's anymore. I want to go find mommy. Sun Yanwei, who had just arrived, stood frozen in place, her displeasure written all over her face. Sweetheart, did Auntie Sue do something wrong? How about I take you out to play? The son ducked behind Su Yichen. No, I want mommy. Su Yichen picked him up and walked away. Nianwei, please don't come around for a while. We're waiting for Shiran to come back. She might misunderstand if she sees you. Sun Yanwei gave a wry smile, but said nothing. All men are the same. My son has been miserable all day. Life without his mother isn't as good as he imagined it would be. He tossed all the mango candies into the trash, swearing he would never eat them again or visit Aunt Su. He revised everything from before and actually wrote about Lin Shiran in his essay. Mom, my mom is simple and always nagging. She's always telling me what I can't eat, but I've come to understand she's just looking out for me. Back then, I even felt embarrassed. No other kids' moms asked the teacher like that, only mine. I felt like a porcelain doll, standing out. As he wrote, Tears began to fall. He wished he could burn all his old exam papers, that essay. He wrote back then actually ended up being selected as a model composition. Su Yi-chen and his son were both completely lost in their memories. Their wonderful 9 months were overshadowed by just 3 months of novelty. No, they're going to bring Lin Shiran back. Chapter 7. Leaving Su Yi-chen and my son behind. I didn't feel as heartbroken as I had imagined. True, I've endured the harshest winters alone year after year. What else is there left that I can't bear? I no longer revolve around them. Remembering who can't eat what, wake up each day and make yourself a delicious breakfast. I have no allergies, I can eat anything. In just a few short months, I've sampled every delicacy I could get my hands on. Life couldn't be better. It's just my mom and me all day long. It was just mom and me talking, leaving only the two of us behind. Just when I thought I had completely severed ties with the past, Su Yi-chen appeared before me. Finding me isn't surprising, so I wasn't surprised, just calmly communicated. Su Yi-chen's eyes reddened. Shiran, I was wrong. I paused, a small ripple stirring within me, but it soon settled. It's none of my business anymore. Su Yi-chen saw me like this and felt even more heartbroken. He had imagined many scenarios, me hysterically interrogating him, me begging him to leave Sun Yanwei, but no, I remained perfectly calm. It was as if everything had come to a standstill. I truly don't love you anymore, Su Yi-chen. The days I saw as my salvation were nothing but their calamity. From that moment on, my heart was completely broken. My only salvation can be myself. Su Yi-chen shook his head vehemently. No, it's not like that. I was just helping Sun Yanwei through a tough time. I don't want to be with her. I've never cheated on you. Cheated? Maybe he never physically cheated, but he had already been emotionally unfaithful long ago. He doesn't need to deny it. He enjoys the moments he spends with Sun Yanwei every winter. Like my son, I look forward to some different kind of collision. She might be young and energetic, or perhaps full of clever little ideas. I'm not entirely sure, but it was undoubtedly a defining moment in their lives. I might just be that background character, only remembered for my importance when I'm gone, but I don't want to go back anymore. Su Yi-chen was on the verge of a breakdown, but he truly had no idea how to defend himself. He knows it's true what I said. He found joy and a sense of novelty in these events every year. There's no difference between them and the person who secretly supports a mistress behind the scenes. They found a secret thrill in their infidelity. He went even further, using his son as a cover, and the two risked their lives to chase that thrill, but he truly regretted it. Shiran, let's start over. I won't be like that again, okay? He was utterly humbled, with no confidence left in his heart. I shook my head. Many days later, I saw him again. By his side was his son, who looked just asleep, deprived and poorly fed. Mom, the tearful pleas of the past echoed in my ears. The image of him abandoning me for her, for Mom Su, remained vivid. In the past, I truly did love him. He is the child I brought into the world through near-death struggle, and the last gift my mother left me. Yet it became the knife that hurt me the most. They didn't want to leave either, so they ended up staying right next door to me. Bring me flowers and grass every day. Noisy and chaotic. I couldn't take it anymore, so I asked Su Yi-chen to meet and talk. You need to understand, we're not even legally married. There's no relationship between you and me. Got it? Don't show up in front of me again. Su Yi-chen refused. I went to annul the marriage. There will be a result soon. Wait for me. Please don't be so cold. Hit me if you want, or even hit our son. It's all my fault for leading him astray. I couldn't be bothered to respond. I never expected our son would use mangoes to beg me to come back. He ate one and choked right in front of me. Chapter 8. I quickly called the police for help, and he barely survived, crying and begging me. Mom, I really know I was wrong. I don't like Aunt Sue, and I promise I won't be lazy anymore. I'd save him. Anyone in need, I'd save, but I really don't want to think about my past life anymore. When the heart is dead, how can one live on? Su Yi-chen promises I'll do my best to make everything go back to the way it was. They go out of their way to please, but it all feels so insincere. Finally, Sun Yanwei could sit still no longer. She clung to the marriage and refused to dissolve it without my consent. You and I are already married. Haven't you been living well with me? I'm in Westlake, you know. Yi-chen brother. Su Yi-chen took a step back from her. Get away. Don't show up like this again. I have nothing to do with you. Our marriage must end. He went to take care of the matter, considered various lawsuits. He wanted to prove the marriage invalid, but couldn't manage it no matter what. He and Sun Yanwei willingly became husband and wife, and continued to build a life together after marriage. Even if he shouts in court, I was only there for 3 months. I was just acting with her. But the judge wouldn't listen. According to Sun Yanwei's account, since they had consummated their marriage, they were a complete family. Even when Su Yi-chen had an affair and fathered a child out of wedlock, She generously accepted the child as her own. No matter how the father and son tried to explain, they only earned the contempt of the audience. What a scumbag, resorting to such underhanded tricks just to leave his first wife. Has he no shame? She's already forgiven you for cheating, and you still want a divorce. Don't be so shameless. Su Yichen was at a loss for words as a handful of paper was thrown in his face. Sun Yanwei had succeeded. Happily, she linked her arm with Su Yichen's. I told you, you're mine for life. Su Yichen recoiled as if shocked. Get out. He could no longer restrain himself. With a roar, he seized Sun Yanwei by the throat. You ungrateful bitch, I should have let you die in that hospital. Sun Yanwei burst into laughter. None of you can leave me, Yichen, you're all I have left. My family is gone. You promised I'd always be your family. Why do you never keep your word? Su Yichen's eyes nearly popped out of his head. You're a terrible person, deserving of being alone. No one wants you. Sun Yanwei refused to let him leave, insisting they stay bound together. Her once affectionate son suddenly lunged forward and bit her. Give me back my mom, you wicked woman, you homewrecker. Sun Yanwei, however, was laughing happily. You and I are on the same household register. You're my son, so don't talk about being a mistress. Father and son fell into deep despair. What they had dug, they had to fill themselves. Even so, father and son still appeared before me. I found my ultimate weapon too. I'll go back with you, as long as you can get a divorce. Su Yichen would always lower his head and sigh in despair. I will. I'm trying. But he would often return empty-handed, having to swallow his frustration for several more days before coming back to try again. He and Sun Yanwei were tormenting each other beyond all reason. Finally, he snapped and violently beat up Sun Yanwei. Don't push me, I'm telling you, I'll take you down with me. Divorce. Sun Yanwei, however, had already gone mad. Even if I die, I'll be with you. I could never let you go. Su Yichen had not shown up for a long time. Chapter 9. Just when I thought he had given up, the news has been released. Su Yichen, unable to restrain himself any longer, killed Sun Yanwei. He collapsed as if a great weight had been lifted. In his final moments, he made sure to transfer his son's household registration, and just like that, he and Sun Yanwei were through. He was done with her, once and for all. Exhausted, he collapsed onto the ground, feeling half dead. It was all his fault. He called the police and turned himself in. Sun Yanwei stared at Su Yichen with disbelief. In her dying moments, I loved you so much, why couldn't we be together? Men are just trash. You enjoyed those 3 months every year, but being with me every day became your shackle. Ha, neither Lin Shiran nor I won. We're both fools for ever liking someone like you. You don't deserve it. It was that very sentence that drove Su Yichen to commit murder. It's all because of you. If only you hadn't come into my life. But he knew Sun Yanwei was right. He was just being a fool. He was restless with a monotonous life but unwilling to disrupt his existing routine. How can people be so greedy? So he waited quietly for the judgment, and so, Su Yichen was sentenced to death. He left all his assets to me and my son. I never wanted to meddle in my son's affairs, but he's still young, and all the evidence proves he's my son. I had no choice but to take him home. He no longer needs my concern. I highlight my allergy precautions in red every day and hang them on my backpack tag. He's far too mature for his age. Mom, I'm sorry. That lingering resentment still remains in my heart, but I continue to nurture him with care, re-educate him to think, taught him right from wrong, what to do and what not to do. Many years later, he took over the company and got married. He always remembered my teachings and did not follow in his father's footsteps, and my life has been nearly complete. I've tried everything I once feared to do, and I've also done a lot of charitable work. My life has been fulfilling and full of energy. I finally managed to say it. I am content with the life I've lived. It is enough that I am alive. The end. Story 2. On my birthday, my husband, Shin Jingchu, took our son to attend the celebration banquet of his junior schoolmate. When I signed the divorce agreement and was packing my things, I found my husband's old mobile phone in the corner. In the text message box, there were confession messages that Shin Jingchu, who was 17 years old at that time, sent to me. Without hesitation, I pressed the delete button. Suddenly, a few words appeared out of thin air in the text message box. Who are you? The words in the dialog box kept increasing. Why did you delete my confession message? My pupils dilated suddenly, and I involuntarily dropped the phone in a state of shock. I quickly took out my own mobile phone and flipped back to the messages from 13 years ago. There lay a confession message from Shin Jingchu. I suppressed the panic in my heart, picked up the phone again, and asked him, who are you going to confess to? Tong Nian. When I saw my own name, my heart trembled violently. Could the person on the other end of the phone be Shin Jingchu at the age of 17? The other side was still sending messages continuously. Are you a human or a ghost? Why are you trying to stop me from confessing? I came back to my senses and replied following his words, "You don't need to confess because, in the future, you will let her down." The other side paused for a moment and then replied firmly, "Impossible." Even though we were separated by the screen, I could already imagine the disdainful look on the young and impulsive Shin Jingchu's face. The 17-year-old Shin Jingchu loved sincerely and passionately. Naturally, he couldn't have imagined what he would be like at the age of 30. I moved my fingers, wanting to explain to him, but the door was suddenly pulled open. I calmly put the old mobile phone in my pocket and then continued packing my things. Shin Jingchu rushed into the room in a hurry and rummaged through the cabinets and drawers in the living room as soon as he came in. "Nian Nian, have you seen my small box?" "Nian Nian." Shin Jingchu called my name several times in a row, but I didn't respond to him. I just packed my luggage in silence. Finally, he opened the door of my room and happened to meet me who was about to go out. He was stunned for a moment first, and then frowned and asked me, "You're packing your things, where are you going?" I lowered my eyes and handed him the divorce agreement in my hand. "Shin Jingchu, let's get a divorce." Shin Jingchu frowned even more tightly. "Is it because of Gu Yuan?" "I've said it before, if there was really something between me and her, I would have divorced you long ago." I have heard the same words no less than 20 times. If I hadn't accidentally seen his mobile phone, I would never have found out that the person who had slept beside me for many years had been sending messages to that girl named Gu Yuan every day since 5 years ago. They were the most compatible partners in the laboratory and also regular dining companions in the cafeteria. Everyone knew that they had a good relationship. Some people in the group even joked that Gu Yuan was the little sister-in-law, and Shin Jingchu would respond with a smile. But when I questioned him, he frowned. "It's just a few jokes. Is it necessary to take it so seriously?" "I'm tired of hearing such words. Don't you like Gu Yuan? After you sign the paper, you can pursue her openly." "Tong Nian Nian, when did I say that I liked her?" Shin Jingchu suddenly lost his temper and snatched the divorce agreement from me. "And where can you go if you divorce me? You're already 30 years old, and your education level isn't high. You don't even have a postgraduate degree. Who would hire you in the workplace now? Where will you get the money to support yourself?" His words were like a heavy hammer, hitting my heart hard. 8 years ago, Shin Jingchu and I applied for the postgraduate entrance examination together. However, that year, I accidentally got pregnant. The doctor said that my body was weak. If I had an abortion, it would be very difficult for me to get pregnant again in the future. Shin Jingchu really wanted this child and hoped that I could keep it. So, in that year's postgraduate entrance examination, only Shin Jingchu went. On the day he was admitted, he hugged me and kissed me for a long time. He said, "Nian Nian, I know that you gave up your future for our child. Don't worry, I'll earn money to support the family in the future and won't treat you and the child badly." My nose felt sour. I opened my mouth to refute him, but I was speechless. He tore the divorce agreement into pieces, and his angry expression gradually softened. "Nian Nian, today I'll consider what you said as nonsense. Don't mention it again in the future." He turned around and then looked back at me. "By the way, where is that box?" I lowered my eyes. "It's on the cabinet next to the TV." "Okay." He found that exquisite box on the cabinet. The moment he stepped out of the door, he paused again. "Stay at home. I'll come back as early as possible to celebrate your birthday." I smiled sarcastically. It turned out that he still remembered that today was my birthday. I noticed the small box he took away when I was cleaning the house yesterday. It was a jade necklace. Something I had always wanted but didn't have the heart to buy because it was too expensive. When I opened it, I was filled with joy, thinking that this was a birthday surprise from Shin Jingchu. He was finally going to please me. However, on the greeting card inside the box, the words "to Gu Yuan" were written in black and white. After all, it was just my wishful thinking. His change of heart was also the reason why I was determined to get a divorce. The old mobile phone in my pocket vibrated with a ding. I took out the old mobile phone and found that it was a message sent to myself from the original number. "Forget it, it's already too late. I'll confess to her next year." I was stunned and instinctively clicked on the confession message that Shin Jingchu sent to me back then. The date below the message had actually changed from 13 years ago to 12 years ago. I was filled with astonishment. Could the 17-year-old Shin Jingchu change the present? Shin Jingchu was still sending me messages. "This way, we don't have to compete for the dialogue box when sending messages, so please reply to me." "Who exactly are you?" My eyes dimmed. "I'm a god and can predict the future. I'm a materialist and don't believe in gods or ghosts." I was choked by his words. Then his message came in. "But I can listen to your prophecy. What do you know?" If I told him, would it be possible to change that thing? I raised my hand and touched the scar on my face, wanting to try if it was really possible to change the past. The day after Nian Nian's birthday, she will be dragged to the corner by a group of gangsters and bullied. They will burn her face with cigarette butts. I sent the message, and the other side replied to me, okay, I'll pay attention. After the conversation ended, he didn't send any other messages. I put the phone away. It was already past midnight, and Shen Jingchu and our son still hadn't come back. If it were normal, I would be very worried and keep calling. I wouldn't go to bed until they came back. Now, I washed up quietly and went to bed. The next day, in the morning, the house was still empty. The father and son hadn't come back all night. My expression didn't change. When I was washing up, I saw that my skin in the mirror was as smooth as ever, without any burn scars. My pupils suddenly widened in shock. Suddenly, a brand new memory crowded into my mind. The day after my 17th birthday, I was still caught by a group of gangsters. However, when the gangsters were about to burn my face with cigarette butts, Shen Jingchu suddenly appeared and protected me. The past had really been changed. I laughed in disbelief, and tears rolled down my face. I quickly took out that old mobile phone from my pocket. On the new message, there was only a short sentence. Thank you, I saved her. Without hesitation, I typed on the keyboard and asked the 17-year-old Shen Jingchu, then would you be willing to save Nian Nian one more time? He immediately replied to me, is something going to happen again? What should I do? Don't confess, and stay away from her, even. Through the screen, I could imagine the confused and skeptical look on the young man on the other side. Why? Because after you get together, you will let her down in the future. The young man immediately refuted me. Impossible, I love Nian Nian very much. Nian Nian scraped her knee today. After class, I went to the grocery store and bought her different styles of band-aids. Nian Nian's deskmate, Peng Dun, threatened Nian Nian to do his homework for him. I directly tore up his homework. When she has a fever or a cold, or is slightly not feeling well, my heart aches so much. Even if there are so many gangsters like today, I will still rush up to protect her. I know very well that she is my life. I can't let her down. I looked at his words of argument one by one, and the beautiful memories of the past were gradually peeled away. The 17-year-old Shen Jingchu regarded me as the most precious treasure in his life. The 30-year-old Shen Jingchu, however, spoke to me harshly without mercy. At first, he said he would support me, but now, he said he was the one who had supported me. I lowered my eyes. People's hearts will always change. Then tell me, how will I let her down in the future? My fingers paused. Countless fragments emerged in my mind, but I didn't know where to start at this moment. A call came in. After I answered it, the person on the other side said in a hurry, sister-in-law, brother Shen is a bit drunk. Can you come and take him home? Your child is also here. The voice on the other side was very noisy, and I could vaguely hear the sound of things being broken. My heart panicked, and a sense of unease welled up in my heart. I rushed to the address sent by my junior fellow apprentice. On the way, Shen Jingchu's words, then tell me, how will I let her down in the future, kept lingering in my mind. Finally, I clicked on the phone screen and gently pressed the recording button. Shen Jingchu, then listen carefully to the stupid things you did at the age of 30. When I stepped into the restaurant, I just saw Shen Jingchu hitting a fat man. The scene was in chaos. The tables and chairs were knocked askew, and the tableware was broken and scattered all over the floor. I was about to go up and pull Shen Jingchu away when his junior fellow apprentice quickly pulled me aside. Sister-in-law, don't go there for now. What if you get accidentally injured? I frowned. He never gets drunk and acts crazy. What happened? The junior fellow apprentice sighed. Just now, there were two rascals who insisted on asking Du Yuan to drink with them. Brother Shen got angry and started fighting. His voice stopped abruptly, and he looked at me with a guilty conscience. Sister-in-law, I'm just talking nonsense. Don't be angry. The 17-year-old Shen Jingchu would only fight for me, but the 30-year-old him fought for someone else. I didn't care. But when I looked at Shen Jingchu again, my pupils suddenly shrank. I didn't know when my 5-year-old son had come to Shen Jingchu's side and also stretched out his small fist and punched the fat man's thigh. I'll beat you up. How dare you bully Sister Gu? The fat man was so angry that he grabbed a beer bottle next to him and was about to smash it on my son's head. No, almost out of a mother's reflex, I rushed up in 2 or 3 steps. At the critical moment, I pulled my son tightly into my arms. The falling beer bottle hit my back and shattered into pieces. Blood seeped out from my back. Even a slight movement caused a tearing pain. I groaned in pain, but someone in the crowd shouted, "Oh no, Gu Yuan fainted." What? Shen Jingchu kicked the fat man to the ground and, as if he didn't see me, immediately turned around and squeezed into the crowd. Gu Yuan, wake up quickly. Gu Yuan was in his arms and showed no sign of waking up. Someone explained, Gu Yuan was originally going to pick up the child just now, I guess she was scared unconscious by the flying fragments. Shin Jingchu looked worried and carried Gu Yuan and rushed out. My son looked at me in surprise. Mom, did you come to take me home? Then, he struggled to break free from my arms and ran in the direction of Shin Jingchu. Dad, wait for me. I want to take care of Sister Gu too. My face turned pale. Looking at the father and son walking further and further away, my heart felt cold. I thought that even if Shin Jingchu and my son favored others, they would still care about me to some extent. I didn't expect that they didn't care at all. It's really ridiculous. Even if he's no longer my lover, he's still a family member on the same household registration book. I forced myself to stand up, and the junior fellow apprentice immediately surrounded me. Sister-in-law, how are you? Just now I saw you block that wine bottle. He quickly stepped forward to pull me and suddenly exclaimed, you're seriously injured, your back is covered in blood. Brother Shin is really too much. Didn't he see that you were injured? Gu Yuan wasn't even injured. What's the hurry for him? My junior fellow apprentice sent me to the hospital. I didn't go home until my wounds were cleaned as expected. Shin Jingchu and my son didn't come back. I sent the recording just now to the 17-year-old Shin Jingchu. After a while, he suddenly asked me, you're the future Nian Nian, right? My fingers trembled, and I didn't deny it. The 17-year-old Shin Jingchu asked me, before, you told me that in the future, I would speak harshly to Nian Nian. These actually aren't prophecies, but things that you have already experienced once, right? I smiled self-deprecatingly. Yes, Nian Nian, the future me has let you down, so you begged me to stay away from you, right? Yes. Shin Jingchu was silent for a long time and finally asked me, Nian Nian, do you regret marrying me, right? I replied to him, yes, I regret it. Okay, I understand. After these words, he didn't send another message. My chest seemed to be pressed down by a huge stone, bringing a suffocating pain. I don't know how the 17-year-old Shin Jingchu will decide, but at the moment, I should always plan another way out for myself. I don't want to stay by Shin Jingchu's side anymore. I don't want my husband or my son anymore. I took off my pajamas that were stained with blood on the back and changed into a clean set of clothes. I picked up the packed suitcase and reprinted a copy of the divorce agreement from the photocopier. After signing it, the door was opened at this moment. Shin Jingchu, with our son, dragged his tired body and entered the house. When he saw me holding the suitcase, he immediately flew into a rage. Nian Nian, you're already 30 years old, can you stop doing such childish things as running away from home? When he saw the divorce agreement on the table, he sneered at me, you printed another copy, do you really want to leave me that much? My expression remained the same, I'm serious, Shin Jingchu, I don't love you anymore, I can't go on living with you, let's get a divorce. Shin Jingchu stared at me intently. In the end, he laughed out of anger and humiliation. Then I'll tell you. Getting a divorce is impossible in this lifetime. He picked up the divorce agreement and made a move as if he was going to tear it up again. I immediately rushed forward to try to take it back. Unexpectedly, my body actually passed through Shin Jingchu, and I pounced on empty air. I supported the table in disbelief. At this moment, my mind seemed to be about to explode, and a pile of brand new memories crowded in. The 18-year-old Shin Jingchu rejected my confession. Shin Jingchu once told me that he liked to put two important days on the same day, such as our love anniversary and my birthday. However, on my 18th birthday, I didn't wait for Shin Jingchu's confession. Seeing that after graduation, the intersection between me and him was getting less and less, I took the initiative to express my feelings to Shin Jingchu. To my surprise, Shin Jingchu not only rejected my confession but also filled in a university that was completely different from mine for his college application. He made his attitude clear. No matter how much I asked him at that time or how much I cried and begged him to tell me the reason, he kept his mouth shut. At that time, I didn't know the reason, but Shin Jingchu's cliff-like change in attitude became a demon in my heart. Later, during my college years, there were many suitors who showed their affection to me, but I never accepted anyone's pursuit until I graduated from college. I took the postgraduate entrance examination alone, climbed up step by step, and finally became a university teacher at my alma mater. The two sets of memories were intertwined in my mind. It was not until I felt the warmth on my shoulder that I was suddenly pulled back from the memories. I came back to my senses, and the person beside me asked me softly, "Ms. Yu, are you okay? Did your hypoglycemia attack?" As she spoke, she took out a piece of candy from her pocket and stuffed it into my hand. When I heard the address of teacher, my heart trembled violently. It's true. It's all true. Everything has changed. Ms. Yu, are you still feeling okay? Do you need me to take you to the infirmary? I quickly shook my head. No, I'm fine, thank you for the candy. The student Jiang Yan quickly waved her hand. You don't need to be polite to me. The relevant details of the afternoon exchange meeting have been sent to the group. Remember to check the group announcement and prepare the relevant materials. Jiang Yan said as she walked forward. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. If you have anything, feel free to send me a message. After Jiang Yan left, I took out my phone and first flipped through the text messages. I found that the confession message sent to me by Shen Jingchu 12 years ago was indeed gone. I finally let out a sigh of relief. Then I clicked on the group chat and briefly scanned the pinned group announcement. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw that my personal note was Professor Nian from the Department of Biology. University. I was a bit dazed. Before I married Shen Jingchu, my goal of taking the postgraduate entrance examination was also to become a university professor. It's a pity that I got pregnant accidentally later. Forget it, it's all in the past. There's no need to keep recalling it. My eyes dimmed. I quickly put away my phone and walked back to the office to start preparing the materials until the afternoon. I entered the exchange meeting room on time. The two students accompanying me had already taken their seats and waved at me with smiles on their faces. I smiled back and finally sat down beside the two of them. After the meeting started, I unexpectedly saw two familiar people. Gu Yuan attended the speech as a representative of her alma mater, and the person standing beside her was Shen Jingchu. Shen Jingchu and Gu Yuan cooperated as tacitly as ever. I sat in the audience, looking at them intently. Jiang Yan beside me sighed and said, I heard that Miss Gu is teacher Shen's junior schoolmate. This is the first time she has appeared at the exchange meeting. She is as excellent as teacher Shen. I didn't answer. The girl next to Jiang Yan clicked her tongue a few times. I heard that these two are also in a romantic relationship. No wonder they cooperate so tacitly. When I heard that he was in a relationship with Gu Yuan, I wasn't very surprised. After all, the 18-year-old Shen Jingchu didn't choose me. It was also expected that he would be with Gu Yuan at the age of 30. Shen Jingchu looked relaxed on the stage, and his movements were natural. Suddenly, for a moment, his eyes met mine, and then his voice trembled imperceptibly. I frowned slightly and then returned to normal as expected. Shen Jingchu and Gu Yuan's speech received a round of applause. I clapped along with the others. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw that Shen Jingchu and Gu Yuan sat in the second row. My position just allowed me to see his profile. I saw Shen Jingchu unscrew a bottle of water attentively and hand it to Gu Yuan. Gu Yuan looked at him with a sweet smile on her face. I calmly withdrew my gaze and put my attention back on the stage. After the exchange meeting ended, I left with the two students. We chose an exit with few people. As soon as we stepped out of the meeting room, my arm was suddenly grabbed. I turned around and just met Shen Jingchu's forbearing gaze. I need to talk to you about something. After saying hello to the students, I was pulled by Shen Jingchu and walked a long way in the opposite direction, until we reached a deserted corner. I couldn't bear it anymore and shook him off. If you have something to say, just say it here. Shen Jingchu looked at me with cold eyes. I'm asking you, what's going on now? Why did I suddenly move from home to the laboratory? My heart trembled violently. I suppressed the shock and panic in my heart and pretended to be calm as I said, what are you talking about? I don't understand. Shen Jingchu's eyes dimmed. What exactly happened between us 12 years ago? I raised my eyebrows slightly and asked him back. 12 years ago, you not only rejected my confession but also deliberately filled in a different university from mine. Have you forgotten? Shen Jingchu stared at me intently, as if he wanted to find some flaws on my face. He did remember that there seemed to be such a thing, but he clearly remembered that he had already married Nian, and Nian had even given birth to a son for him. But when he came to his senses, he found himself standing in the laboratory. When he mentioned the things he had just experienced, everyone looked at him as if they had seen a ghost and said that he had never been married, let alone have a child. Thinking of this, Shen Jingchu tentatively asked me, then do you still remember our two children? I pretended to be surprised and opened my mouth wide. How can you say such things? If Miss Gu hears this, it will be terrible. Shen Jingchu's face darkened, and he said coldly, I've said it before. There's no improper relationship between me and Gu Yuan. Speaking of Gu Yuan, she didn't know what was wrong with her today. During the speech, her eyes were glued to him. After getting off the stage, she even asked him to unscrew the bottle cap in a coquettish voice. This way of getting along was just like that of a couple in love, making him feel uncomfortable all over. I looked at Shen Jingchu in front of me. That cold expression was exactly the same as the 30-year-old him. If it were the 18-year-old Shen Jingchu, I would still feel a little guilty. After all, he did help me a lot at that time, but the person in front of me was clearly still the 30-year-old Shen Jingchu, so naturally, I didn't even have the slightest bit of remaining guilt in my heart. I still have some records to file. if there's nothing else, I'll leave first. After saying that, I turned around and left without looking back. Behind me, Shin Jingchu reached out to grab me, but I had already walked a short distance. And he grabbed nothing. After graduating, Shin Jingchu and I both stayed to work at our respective alma maters. Although we were in the same city, we didn't have many opportunities to contact each other on weekdays. At least in the past few years of my work, my impression of Shin Jingchu was mostly just a passing glance at various meetings. Looking at the large pile of materials that needed to be reviewed in front of me, I sighed helplessly. The result of the professional title evaluation just came out today. The good news was that I was promoted, and the bad news was that I became even busier. Fortunately, I had all the memories of taking the postgraduate entrance examination and working. Otherwise, I would have to start learning all kinds of knowledge from scratch. I grabbed my hair and buried myself in my work. Such peaceful days passed for 2 days. I had successfully adapted to the identity of a university professor and handled my work in an orderly manner. Suddenly, one day, I took a break from my busy work and chatted with the students. 2 little girls pulled me and talked to me about the gossip of the school teachers. Suddenly, Jiang Yan mentioned that familiar name. Do you still remember Miss Gu, the one at the last exchange meeting? Another girl quickly nodded. Yes, I remember. What happened to her? Miss Gu confessed to Shin Jingchu, but he rejected her. The girl covered her mouth in surprise. I thought the 2 of them were already together. Jiang Yan pursed her lips and smiled. Not at all. It's just that they were so affectionate that everyone thought they were a couple. The girl let out a long "oh" sound. Then why did Teacher Shin reject Miss Gu? I heard that he treats Miss Gu very well. He should also like her, right? Jiang Yan smiled mysteriously. I don't know about that, but I heard something. Before, Teacher Shin was distracted when observing an experiment. When he came to his senses, he started telling everyone that he was married and that he had a son this big, Jiang Yan said as she gestured with her hands. So everyone guessed that he was probably crazy from doing experiments. I raised my eyebrows. Is it that exaggerated? Is it true or false? Jiang Yan quickly replied to me. It's absolutely true. My friend is an intern in that laboratory, and she saw it with her own eyes. Jiang Yan suddenly stopped speaking. Her eyes shifted guiltily to behind me. Hello, Teacher Shen. I was stunned and turned around to see that Shin Jingchu had come behind me at some point and nodded gently at me. Is it convenient for you? Miss you. I have something I want to talk to you about. I followed Shin Jingchu out of the door and walked to the fence outside. I said impatiently, okay, what do you want to say this time? Shin Jingchu put his hands on the fence. Unlike last time, this time there was no aggressiveness in his eyes. I heard that you were promoted to a professional title. Congratulations. I let out an sound and answered him expressionlessly. Thank you. Seeing my cold attitude, he twitched the corners of his mouth. The job of education is indeed more suitable for you. I didn't want to talk about such meaningless nonsense with him, so I directly told him to leave. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. After saying that, I turned around and was about to leave. Suddenly, his sincere voice came from behind me. I'm sorry. I stopped in my tracks and turned around, looking at him in surprise. Shin Jingchu lowered his eyes. I'm sorry for you, Nian Nian, you. His eyes were clean and bright at this moment, filled with nothing but sincerity. Just like the 18-year-old him, my expression was a bit complicated, and I asked him uncertainly, do you remember everything? Yeah, I remember. He walked to my side and carefully took hold of my arm with both hands. The things I've done all these years must have made you very disappointed, right? His voice was cautious, even with a hint of self-blame. I'm sorry, Nian Nian, I let you down. I calmly withdrew my hand from his and twitched the corners of my mouth to force a smile. It's okay, it's all in the past. There's no need to mention it anymore. Besides, I'm doing fine now. Shin Jingchu pursed his lips. I asked him, is there anything else? He looked at me cautiously and then shook his head. My heart suddenly clenched. Now he was exactly the same as the 18-year-old Shin Jingchu, and my tone also softened involuntarily. Then I'll go back to work first. Shin Jingchu nodded gently. He stood behind me and his eyes followed me until my back disappeared from his sight. Shin Jingchu didn't come to find me for a long time. I let out a sigh of relief in my heart. This was also good. The former Shin Jingchu had hurt me countless times, but now that he had become like this, I really couldn't say anything harsh at present. The best way was indeed not to meet each other. Since I was promoted to a professional title, my workload had become heavier and heavier. I worked overtime and stayed up late every day. Finally, on a certain working day, I was successfully exhausted and was honored with a short vacation. Okay, we will do the things you entrusted us with on time. You should pay attention to rest these 2 days. We'll go and get busy now. I hung up the phone. threw the phone on the bedside table, and tossed and turned in bed but couldn't fall asleep. Suddenly, the doorbell rang abruptly and kept ringing several times. Only then did I drag my tired body up and go to open the door impatiently. "Who is it?" As soon as I opened the door, I saw Shin Jingchu standing in front of me, carrying a large pile of medicine and various tonics in his hands. "I heard that you were ill, so I came to see you." My body was extremely tired, and I didn't have the energy to ask him where he got the news. I turned my head and threw out a sentence, "Come in." He gently closed the door behind him, then placed the medicine and tonics on the table, occupying most of the table. "This is for treating a cold, this is for supplementing nutrition, and this is," as Shin Jingchu babbled on, he took out a whole hen from his pocket, "this is for making soup to nourish your body, and I also brought mushrooms." Looking at his well-prepared setup, I waved my hand feebly, "Thanks, but I have no appetite right now, I'm going to lie down for a while." After saying that, I went back into the room and got under the covers. Only then did my nerves relax. My head was dizzy. Shin Jingchu seemed to be sitting beside me and fed me a pill. I swallowed it and fell asleep, not knowing how long I slept. When I opened my eyes again, Shin Jingchu was still sitting beside me, having moved a stool over. When he saw that I was awake, he opened his mouth and spoke in a hoarse voice, "You're awake. Do you feel better?" I nodded and asked him, "How long did I sleep?" "Not long." I raised my eyebrows and looked at him. "Have you been sitting beside me all this time?" His Adam's apple moved, and he let out an sound. "Do you have an appetite now? My soup should be almost ready." The moment our eyes met, the words of refusal got stuck in my throat. I propped myself up with my palm and got up. "Then I'll have a taste." Shin Jingchu was very happy. He cheerfully served me a bowl of soup and then sat opposite me, watching with delight as I took one sip after another of the soup he had made. "Is it good?" I nodded, and the smile in his eyes grew even wider after seeing me finish the soup. He picked up my bowl again. "I'll get you another bowl of soup." Just then, Shin Jingchu's phone rang abruptly. I took the bowl from his hand. "I don't want any more soup. You should answer the phone first." Shin Jingchu answered the phone. Before he could turn down the volume, I clearly heard the voice on the other end of the line. "Brother Shin, Gu Yuan is drunk in the bar now and insists on asking you to pick her up. How about you?" "No way." Shin Jingchu didn't hesitate for a moment and firmly refused. "I'm busy right now. You guys find a few more people to carry her back." After saying that, he hung up the phone without any hesitation. When he saw me looking at him, he immediately explained, "There's really nothing between me and Gu Yuan. I was just..." Shin Jingchu's voice trailed off. He knew in his heart that he had never liked Gu Yuan, but he also didn't understand why he had treated Gu Yuan so well before and even done such excessive things to Nian. Shin Jingchu carefully observed my expression. When he saw that I didn't show any strange reaction, he finally let out a sigh of relief. "What else would you like to eat? I'll make it for you." I shook my head. "No need, thank you for your hard work today. It's getting late, you can go now." My tone of driving him away was merciless. Shin Jingchu pursed his lips and looked at me with a hint of reluctance. "Nian, do you really want to drive me away?" I looked at him in silence. He looked at me intently and suddenly grabbed my hand with his palm. "Nian, won't you give me another chance? I swear, this time, I will definitely treat you well." As he spoke, he raised his fingers and swore to the sky. I looked at him, my thoughts feeling a bit adrift. The current Shin Jingchu was being too nice to me, so nice that it gave me an unnatural sense of strangeness. He hadn't been this good to me for a very, very long time. I looked at Shin Jingchu in front of me. His face gradually overlapped with that of the 18-year-old Shin Jingchu, and it suddenly made me recall the Shin Jingchu who had coldly pushed me away and gone to find Gu Yuan. The fragmented memories shuttled through my mind again. I looked at him in a trance. "Who on earth are you?" He was taken aback for a moment, and then he raised the corners of his mouth and smiled. "I'm Shin Jingchu." That's right, he was Shin Jingchu. Whether it was the 30-year-old him or the 18-year-old him, they were all him. He raised my hand and placed it on his chest, looking at me affectionately. "So, will you give me another chance?" Those eyes were sincere and full of sincerity. I looked at him and said softly, "Sorry, I can't." The smile on Shin Jingchu's lips froze. "Why? Am I not treating you well enough? Tell me, and I will definitely change." I pulled my hand out of his embrace and gently pushed him away. "It's not that." His eyes were fixed on me. "Then what is it?" I hooked the corners of my mouth self-deprecatingly, "Because even if we start over, it will just be the same old story repeating itself. In fact, what you love is only the excellent Nian, not the Nian who became a housewife." The 17-year-old Nian was timid but had excellent grades. The excellent Nian would make you fall in love with her, and the excellent Gu Yuan would also catch your attention. Shin Jingchu, in fact, You're not as affectionate as you think you are. Shin Jingchu was taken aback for a moment and then immediately retorted, impossible, I love you. Very much, as if recalling something, his voice suddenly trailed off, I lowered my eyes and took 2 steps back. Even if we start over, the result will be the same, there's no need for it, Shin Jingchu, I can live a good life on my own. He looked at me and then slowly lowered his eyes. This is your answer to me, right? I let out an sound. He gave a bitter smile. Okay, I understand. He turned around and left. The moment he stepped out of the door, he suddenly turned back. This time you rejected me, so I won't apologize. Nian, I wish you happiness. Looking at his departing back, I replied softly, the same to you, Shin Jingchu. After recovering from my illness, I immediately threw myself into my work with all my heart. With my persistent efforts, my social status became higher and higher, and my salary also soared later on. I even sponsored several female students, helping them return to school. At work, there were still many people pursuing me. I chose a younger man who was 3 years younger than me, and his appearance really pleased me. But this time, I no longer focused on love. Instead, I devoted more of myself to my work. After all, life is my own, only what I can control in my own hands can be called happiness. The end.